Hi, I'm Michael Uram, licensed marriage and family therapist and licensed professional clinical counselor, CEO of Uram Family Therapy, here to talk to you about 5 practical and tactical tips for helping your teen on the spectrum stay safe online.
Welcome, Michael. It's so good to have you here today on the smartsocial.com podcast. I'm honored to have you here, and you've got a bunch of techniques that you're going to share with us. First of all, give us a quick background on what your practice does.
Sure. My practice is therapy. So talking about the particular issues that are going on in your life, whether you're a child, teen, or even couples, our goal is to be able to use science-based techniques to be able to improve your life. I want to help you be more you. I want to help couples connect a little bit more. I want to help teenagers figure out how to work through a lot of those intense emotions, especially now going through quarantine and doing everything that they can to be able to identify the thoughts that are leading to their moods, the behaviors that they do that improve or decrease their sense of well-being, because any thoughts and behaviors that we have affect the way that we feel. So if I can teach anyone to be more in control of their life, it usually helps your own mental health.
So your tip number 1 says, celebrate your child's strengths more than you help them improve their challenging behaviors. Now, this is for students who are on the spectrum, right? So talk to us about, what does that mean?
Yeah. So for many teens that are on the spectrum, they usually have low self-esteem. There's so many people around them that are correcting their behavior or telling them how to fit into a neurotypical world. So they get corrected so much more often than a neurotypical child. So with all of those corrections, they then have a lot of self-doubt. And that self-doubt usually leads to them feeling like no matter what I do, I'm not going to get better. So if you're able to celebrate those strengths that they have, the things that they have done right, and put on the back burner a lot of the different challenges that they have, you'll notice a lot more engagement, a lot of more hope, and a lot of more belief that things can get better.
Yeah, so I'm hearing new phrases, neurotypical and neuro. Can you dive into those just real quick? That's not on our list today, but I think that's important to define for people.
Sure. A neurotypical person is someone that does not identify as being on the autism spectrum or having a diagnosis that then leads for the way that their brain operates is not in the way that you would expect someone that is the general population, at least of the United States, for their brain to operate. So a neurodiverse individual, their brain's tuned a little differently than a neurotypical person. So they may have some sensory issues. They may have difficulty understanding social situations. There's a wide range of behaviors that then are presented if you're neurodiverse. And most importantly, it doesn't mean that you meet criteria for a diagnosis. It means that your brain functions differently than a neurotypical person.
Awesome. So let's dive into your tip number 2. Tip number 2 from you is watch out for scams that they might not see coming. Is that online? Is that in person? Walk us through that.
That is for both scenarios. There's a lot of teens that I help where as they're interacting with others online, others will take advantage of their naivety, their lack of figuring out those kind of common sense ways to keep yourself safe. So for me, I like to explain it literally step by step. That if someone, let's say in Fortnite, offers free V-Bucks, if you just log into this site and then give them your info, they're going to give you all these different things for free so you don't have to earn them. An individual on the spectrum sometimes is more likely to say, oh, that makes sense. Sure, I'll log in. And then all of a sudden their account's gone, their email's changed, and everything they've ever worked for is taken from them. So I've heard that story so many different times. It's also the same for your Minecraft account. Anything that you don't have two-factor authentication for. A lot of individuals have lost those things believing or trusting a stranger on the internet with their username or password.
Now, for everyone listening right now, it's not just neurodiverse students that have this or on the spectrum. My parents almost got hacked, right? My dad was trying to, let's just make this real. It's not, if everybody's listening right now, oh, I don't need to listen to this because my students are not on the spectrum. Wrong. Your parents, as they get older, they start trusting things more, even if they're super savvy. My dad is a good businessman, but he Googled he thought I was too busy one day. And I was like, no, Dad, I'm not too busy for you. He Googled how to set up an HP printer, and some of the shady online stuff in the HP or Microsoft forums had an image of this customer service phone number fixed my HP printer, and it put an 800 number on there that called somebody that picked up, hey, this is HP. They loaded something on my dad's computer, and he knew enough to go, something doesn't feel right. And he was on customer service with them. They were rude to him, and they just tried to take things from him. So the point is, love what you're teaching, Michael, because it's so much more than just a student in a certain situation. It's also our parents. Anybody that could be taken or told something online. So that's a great tip. Watch out for scams. Essentially, talk to everyone in your family about this.
Yes. Next. Josh, I got taken advantage of with a scam even last week. installing a Minecraft mod for my son. So there's so many different mods out there that you can make Minecraft into all these amazing things. So even then, when I followed all the rules, there's this company called AdFly that really tricks you into clicking things. I just kept clicking all the X's, not realizing that AdFly changed. And now as you click the X, it then installs an exe file on your computer that's probably pretty dangerous. I knew how to handle it and stop everything. But even with me feeling as aware as possible as I can be online, still made that mistake. So there's no shame in ever getting taken advantage of.
No shame. Yeah. And I think what we're hitting on here is whether your student is, the neurotypical, neurodiverse, it doesn't matter. A dialogue is important. Talk with your kids. Your kids are actually going to teach you how to not get scammed sometimes, right? Now, let's dive into tip number 3, play online. This is my favorite right here. Parents, if you're here, educators, the home run, play online games with your child, whether they are neurodiverse or not. I'm going to advance this. I'm going to put words in your mouth real quick and say, where were your kids online, whether they're neurodiverse or not? Walk us through how we can do this and what this means.
Yeah. So specifically for children on a spectrum, their world is the complete understanding that they have of how you would establish your identity online. It's so much more important for them with what they're doing online or who they are online. So whenever you're able to play with them, you're then showing them acceptance that whatever they've created or whatever they've done has some significance in your life and actually can open a lot of doors for communication and dialogue, let alone just showing them love in a way that would be somewhat, easier in the real world with a neurotypical child. A neurodiverse child has a solid identity. They really worked hard. They may even spend hours, if not weeks, creating something online or developing something online that they really want you to actually notice in a more significant way than just saying, oh, great job. They really want you to experience that online with them. And it really builds up that strong connection and just a bond with their parent.
A lot of students say the same thing who are not on the spectrum too. They're begging for their parents, and parents, remember that if a predator would love for you to say the following phrase, they would love for this. They'd love for you to come home from work and say, Josh, I don't have time for Fortnite. I'm not interested in that stuff. Josh, I don't have time for Minecraft. I'll never be interested in that. Whatever. That's his thing. Whatever. Children inside are begging for you to spend time where they're at. I told my best friend, he said, oh, I don't have time for that Minecraft stuff. I said, buddy, stop it. You're a powerful lawyer and a real estate developer. None of that matters. You go home and you spend 30 minutes with your kid playing Minecraft and let them teach you. He called me the next day. He said, Josh, his eyes lit up. He started explaining things to me, right? Whether they're on the spectrum or not. Sometimes, as Michael is saying, just spending time in there is incredible to them. It's the biggest compliment to them just to be, as one of our friends says, shoulder to shoulder. We have a mom talk. One of our people in our company, she has 4 sons. And she says the best way to get stuff out of her kids is to not talk to them, but to sit in the car shoulder to shoulder and they'll dialogue during the drive. Because in her case, as an expert on boys, which she is with 4 boys, she goes, I get them to say everything when we're in the car looking forward, which is basically playing video games.
Oh, yeah.
So talk to us a little bit more about tip number 4, which is educating your child with autism or even without on how people troll each other. Define what trolling is. I think we've all seen it. And then walk us through, how would you work with a kid who's on the spectrum?
Yeah. So first off, kids on the spectrum usually have really intense feelings. Whatever they believe in really strongly. And whenever they go in an online forum, they're going to let people know exactly how they feel. And there's other individuals out there that see that passion and want to embarrass you for having this passion. So they'll be the devil's advocate. They will just say the exact opposite perspective and really enjoy how much it frustrates you to then defend your point. So the example I gave in the article is the person saying, why are you mad, bro? The thing that you believe in is horrible. I can't believe that you'd ever say that people should be nice. Why are you doing that? And the person's like, no, they should be nice. Everyone should be nice. How can you treat someone badly? And the person with autism gets really worked up, or neurotypical kids as well. And it's really enjoyable to someone that fits that mold of a troll, is to then get someone else online incredibly angry, irritated, frustrated, sad, depressed, or even suicidal. So trolls are something to really worry about, particularly for kids on the spectrum that don't recognize that likely that other person doesn't have that real perspective that they're showing you or pretending that's a real perspective. You have to see the nuances that they are just messing with you, and not being able to see that someone's messing with you takes some of these situations to an extreme degree.
This is a huge tip right now because I've been trolled so many times. I have a lot of enthusiasm, Michael, as if you haven't already seen. And people are always telling me, why are you, right? And it took me years, just as a normal bozo that I am, to go, you know what, that's not worth my time. Let's keep moving. And parents, educators, you've seen this in the comments. It used to just be YouTube. There's a bunch of trolls in there. Trolling comes from the old phrase, if you've ever been fishing, they'll actually turn the boat motors on. They'll go out in the ocean and they'll go at low speed and they'll put the lures behind the boat in there, and they'll just let the lures troll. And it's what they call trolling. And they'll see if any fish pick up on it and bite. And that's exactly what they're doing. They're not little tiny trolls that we've all seen in the movies. They are trolling in that they're just driving around the ocean, seeing if anybody bites on what they have. So these people will go out there and comment negatively, like, you're terrible. A lot of my videos that help teach parents how to keep their kids away from students will troll. This is really funny. Students will go, okay, boomer. And that's what they all call me. And we all laugh at the office a lot. It's really, really funny. And they're just looking for somebody to go, I'm not a boomer. What are you talking about? But you kind of got to laugh with it. So I love what you're doing, Michael. You've got one more tip. I want you to, your fifth tip is encourage students to get involved in Pokémon Go, Minecraft Earth, or a similar GPS and AR-based mobile game. Explain to us why you encourage them to get involved.
Sure. A lot of kids that I help are involved in games where you're sitting at a PC or something where you're indoors the entire time. And it can get really suffocating. They may have just piles of food, not always taking out their trash. Their room becomes their absolute zone, their safety zone, or for kids on the spectrum, their comfort zone, where they really resist going outside and breaking through that comfort zone. So I've really struggled where I've even done Zoom sessions where everything I can to really just get that person to be outside of that comfort zone, to be able to explore the world around them in a way that they feel slightly uncomfortable, but not completely uncomfortable, they'll reject it. So I've actually had kids shift from maybe Overwatch or like just traditional Minecraft that's mostly on a PC or on an indoor environment, and saying, you need some fresh air. You need to be able to go outside to be able to have a sense of well-being. So let's take what you're already in. It's called the harm reduction theory. If whatever you're doing right now is incredibly harmful, let's get you into a position that's 1% less harmful. So let's get you slightly away from sitting in your gaming chair that has a perfect imprint of your body, and let's get you outside, potentially doing the same thing with a screen that feels safe, and then continuing to expand beyond that so you can feel much more comfortable in a social setting out in the world and being able to engage with others.
Harm reduction theory. I love that. Now, I got to be honest. Let's do a little bit of a debate here, because when I saw that tip, I was like, I don't know. I don't. Parents, I want to recommend to you that you're on every single app your kids are on, especially if they're on the spectrum, right? We got to get a licensed professional here that's probably going to back that up. Do not allow predators. Would love for you parents to say, oh yeah, my kid's sitting in the room. They're right over there on the iPad. But yeah, they're on Minecraft. They're fine. They got their headset on, but they're right there. No, they're not. They are 1,000 miles away talking with and having access to 7 billion people. There are predators would love for you to think that they're right there, but they're not. They could be bullied. They could be learning 4-letter words. They could be seeing things that you do not know, and other people are moving them from Minecraft to Kick Messenger, to Discord, to all kinds of other apps that you have no idea about. That's why at smartsocial.com, we have a list of the 100 top most popular apps that your kids are going to come in common with, in touch with, and we want you to get to know those. So that's why we're really careful about just blanket suggesting it. But Michael, I love what you're talking about. Getting the kids out and about, pointing the phone, and using the AR 3D, finding those things. What have you seen? Give us a story about maybe recently off the cuff. What have you seen on maybe something lately where either a patient that got better or got worse, or something recent that's an FAQ that you're hearing a lot of parents come in with? Tell us about what you're seeing.
So the response to the previous question, I'll really get into the off-the-cuff comment, but the primary aspect of all of this is saying spend time with your kid. So if your kid's on the spectrum and they're online, it's that much more important to be able to be with them and show them that their world matters. And even if you go out with any of these online games or AR-based games, that you're also doing it with them. You also have an account with them. So the best thing that I've seen is as you're able to just see your kid shine and you see their passion for something, keep supporting that passion as long as it's a safe passion, and you'll see your kid start having more abilities to then say, you know what, I will try that other thing. You know what, I feel kind of good today. I have a little bit more energy. So we call it like an emotional bank account or relational bank account that gets built up. There's a bunch of other books out there that kind of build up these concepts, whether it's, your buckets or like the 7 Habits for a Highly Effective Teenager. There's a lot of great material out there that says if we're able to identify how we build up our own energy or motivation, that our life becomes a lot more varied. We're much more brave. We're able to do things that we didn't think we'd previously do. We're less likely to get involved with the crowd that then would convince us to get high, that would convince us to do all these terrible things that were bad for us because we're allowing ourselves to be influenced by someone else telling us what to do. I'd rather your child be influenced by you and have a great time with you than anyone else.
I love that and 100% agree with it. Yeah, that's great. Hey, Michael, where can people learn more about you?
Sure. The 2 websites that I manage are uramfamilytherapy.com and michaeluram.com. We have a few different blog posts that would just let you know a little bit more about myself and the therapists that we have here. And our main goal is to just use science-based techniques. But uramfamilytherapy.com is the best resource to go to direct you to all of our other resources.
We're gonna provide that link below. Parents, whether your student is on the spectrum or not, the best thing you can do is become the most aware and informed parent on the block. And that's why we have something called the VIP. It's called the Very Informed Parent Program, where it has courses that teach you deep dive into every one of these apps that are important. It teaches you how to set up a password manager for your family. It teaches you how to tether one iPhone to another so that your child's iPhone then can be controlled by yours. Android lovers out there, you beautiful people, we have a bunch of Androids in the office just to teach you that as well. We can teach you how to tether an Android to another Android so your student has all the access. It also shows you where they're at all times because Google automatically puts the kid's name on your Google Maps. It's pretty awesome. We can do the same thing inside of the iPhone. It's amazing. It's the VIP program at social.com. You can click the links below. We also do live events. They're jumpstart events that gets every parent up to speed on everything you need to know about TikTok, Snapchat, Instagram, Netflix, iPhones, Androids, and a couple other different pieces of software that your kids are going to run into. We make sure you know everything they're going to see. Consider that it's about $10 a month, and we've got an incredible amount of people that are saying that it's full of value if you want to learn the technology. Michael, thanks for your time here today. I really appreciate you doing this.
You're welcome, Josh. I really appreciate you having me on. And I don't think you actually know this, but I am a VIP member. I really appreciate the resources that you have.
You are. I forgot about that. I just checked and I saw that one of your emails popped up. That's awesome. Yeah. Well, thank you for all the support. And for the rest of you, you can click the links below to learn more about Michael and the great work that he does. We'll see you guys all in the next episode. Remember, as always, to keep it, as you can see the title of my book right there, light, bright, and polite, because your kids are watching what you're doing online and offline. We'll see all of you on the next episode. Have a great day, everyone.
Thanks.